Welcome back, guys. This is the FPL Banter podcast. With myself, Mopey, and we have the Proud Daddy.
Hello.
And Swabbers.
Yo.
So it's the second week of the international break. We're just before the next game week, and there's been a few internationals. A few things have been happening since the last podcast. Sorry. And so, Woody, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, he's been watching. Apparently, he's been watching all the games religiously. That's what he's just told
every
us.
Game.
90 minutes. Every single one. Yeah. No. Now I've watched all. I think I watched all of the highlights except maybe like Moldova, Montenegro, or something.
You didn't watch that one?
Yeah. But,
oh man.
no, I mean,
why not?
It was
cracking game, mate.
It was edge of the seat stuff. But yeah, no, I've watched most of it. And yeah, I mean, you know, I suppose the main thing to take out of the international break is, did your player get injured or not? That's the risk as almost like concerned parents as we sit and watch back, and you know the kids are running around out of control. Who comes back hurt or not?
Or in your case, a parent to a toy poodle, right?
Yeah. Let's not go into that. I do get nervous when I see them running around with other dogs. Yeah, it's true.
Woody, I assume that you were keeping a close eye on the USA team, yeah, for Pulisic.
Oh god.
No, because they didn't play. But I have been keeping a close eye.
But he checked.
But that's good. That's good awareness from you, Eric, to know if they don't even have a fixture or not. But
there's a word of warning in this podcast. Woody will be banging on about Pulisic a lot.
No, not a lot. Just once. Just one time. But yeah, I mean, obviously it depends who you've got in your team, but I think significant ones, particularly off the back of last week, is the concerns over Chilwell, whether he is actually injured or not, or whether he's just been put on the naughty list by England for breaking COVID rules. Digne picked one up last night. I don't know how many people would have had him in their team.
Is there a theory that the players, like you could imagine Mourinho saying to, say, you know, Eric Dyer or one of those players, say, look, don't go too hard when you're playing the internationals, you know, come off injured if you feel anything, you know, do they have any pressure to not give it 100%?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, there's definitely player management insisted upon by the clubs, which is why he didn't see guys like Kane play all three England games. But while we're on the subject of Dyer, obviously he picked up a knock, so he didn't play, so he's now amber. Sterling, he got a tight hammy, so he picked up a knock. De Bruyne,
KDB, yeah.
Aubameyang also managed to pick one up even though he didn't play. Somehow got a knock by sitting around. Maybe it was the old dropping the bottle of salad cream on his foot jobby again. But yeah, so if you haven't already, basically, do check your teams because people will have picked up knocks. And like I say, a few.
But two things I'd like to raise. One is Kane, because we're kind of split about this, but I felt, because I did watch the game last night against Denmark, and he looked so laboured. He did not look good, and that we'll show you our FPL team, but that's one of the reasons why we haven't.
Yeah, but isn't Kane one of these players that can just show up any day and just score a hat-trick?
Well, I remember last week I was worried about him being tired after all of their excerpts in Europe, and then they won 6-1. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but again, as you said, this is against Manchester United, wasn't it? So.
But and then I do worry that perhaps you are reading a little too much into that, because they were playing with 10 men. There's only so much Harry can do as the lone striker. You know what I mean? It's not like they had a bunch of chances for him to tuck away. Yeah. And it's a Wednesday night fixture, and you know, playing midweek and weekend, they're kind of used to it. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I mean, also DCL, he started off the international break quite well, but he's been kind of not particularly surprising in the last, because he only came on for a few minutes last night. So, but
yeah,
is that a question for people who have him in the FPL team, or they're just like, well, no, I'll stick with him?
He's saving his goals for the Premier League, mate.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything into that. I mean, to be honest, certainly, well, from my opinion, I don't think anybody, and particularly as they played at home. So, you know, I mean, Kane could probably walk to the stadium from his house, so there's no travel fatigue or anything like that. Playing 90 minutes on a Wednesday, it won't affect 90 minutes on a Sunday. I think the only thing you need to worry about is if guys got injured, or if they had like a big round trip, like guys like Mahrez and Jimenez, they played 90 minutes in Mexico. So,
But see,
COVID,
this is the
jet
thing.
lag, all this kind of
This
stuff.
is the thing that I'd like to raise at this point is Mahrez could be a great buy, right? Because, like, I mean, who are they going to play? Like, the list of injuries is very...
Well,
Yeah,
this is-
but
This
you
is
might be
why I brought
basing
up
this just
Mahrez
on.
to segue
Yeah, but
beautifully into your philosophy.
I think Mahrez is a good player regardless. Like, he just shows up and but the thing is he's inconsistent, right? But when he plays well, he's amazing. So I think if you were to base your decision or your team on the amber boxes this week, you might be disappointed because it might turn out that Sterling and KDB and let's say Bernardo Silva play and Mahrez doesn't even show up. I don't know. It's just with Pep, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, Foden's still fit, and obviously he didn't play for England, having been dropped for his naughty Icelandic excursion. Ferran Torres, he's been playing, he's fit. So there are options up front if the amber guys are fit.
But then again, I mean, we all know how unreliable the FPL website can be, though, with that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm traumatized by my Son decision from last game.
Still.
I still feel bad for you.
Yeah, I still have nightmares. I still have the odd nightmare.
I mean, I think I would too if I was you. It's definitely worth losing sleep over.
It is, because I only got saved by Salah. Anyway, but speaking of the City, I mean the Manchesters, I guess we have to mention how Pogba as well, his goal, his assist that basically won the game for them last night against, who was it? Croatia.
Yeah,
so Pogba looking good, and we've all read the headlines, right?
Yeah.
He's off, mate. His dream was to go to Real, but yeah, he's going to Barcelona instead.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone reads the gossip column, but we're fiends for it. And as we all know, last week he went on going on about how dropping not very subtle hints about wanting to go to Real Madrid being his dream job. But yet this morning, it looks like he's going to Barca on a free transfer.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like a high school lad being like, I love Julie, and then like the next day, like a fit bird turns up and scores, I love Steph. I love them all. It's like, I just
you mean Judy, Woody?
Julie, not Judy. Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't think it's anyone's real dream to go and play in La Liga. Realistically, I mean, if you were just talking, like, let's say the clubs all paid the same wage or the same salary, would anyone really dream of going to La Liga if they weren't Spanish?
I mean, as a former professional, I can tell you that. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. It's kind of like, where's the challenge really? Because the domestic stuff's kind of like, you're only really playing against one team, really. And so it's just that you're almost sort of guaranteed a quarter final in Europe onwards, and it's about winning that European title. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I know you watched a lot of games, but have you ever watched like Real Betis against Oviedo? I mean, would that be on your radar?
I mean, extended highlights maybe at a push.
Speaking of extended highlights, just a quick point I want to make here. You know the way if like the highlight will show, let's say, something that's not a goal, like hitting the post or just a close shot.
God.
And then they'll show it in 8 different angles.
Oh my God, it winds me up. It winds me up so much. If there are any guys that are listening to us that do those videos, please, maximum 3 different angles of even a goal or a tackle. Don't go past the 5 mark, because then that's just unbearable.
Yeah. It's too much.
Yeah, and there was one yesterday, and I forget which game. I think it might have been the Spain game, where a shot just went hoofed right over the bar, just went miles over the bar, and the commentator was like, "Oh, don't think that'll even make the highlights." It's like, but it did. That bad a game.
Yeah. Right. So, the England game in general, do we see any sort of standout players?
No, it was a rubbish game, to be honest with you.
Well, don't forget, they also played Belgium in the break since the last podcast.
Yeah, but this is what's going to wind me up. Like, it's typical England style, being like, "Oh, look, we beat Belgium, or the top ranked team, or the what." and then don't show up against Denmark. Okay, great. Granted, they got a red card, but they did not look comfortable before that red card anyway. I mean, especially Maguire. Everyone is hating on Maguire at the moment.
Yeah, I do feel sorry for him. He brings it on himself a bit, but
not just the Mykonos police. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look, as an FPL asset, Maguire has just gone down the toilet, right? I mean, no one's going to.
Yeah. No, but it's what does it mean for United? But then, is anyone really going to have a United defender at the moment anyway?
Definitely not.
No. I mean,
look, I'm a bit worried of upsetting Tal here because I know how much he hates when we talk about anything else in FPL. So, just to bring it back a little bit to FPL, Mane, is he back? It looks like he's training for Liverpool.
Yeah, and they're playing as you mentioned previously, Mopey. They're playing away to Everton. Who can be leaky, but he loves scoring away. So he could be an interesting one. He'd be a differential for sure, because I think most people will be going Salah.
I agree with you because, I mean, Everton, Liverpool, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's got a potential of being high scoring, especially given this season.
Yep.
And if Mane is playing, I mean, he could pretty much be on the score sheet, right?
I mean, like you say, it's definitely... They've definitely been teams very good going forward and not so good at the back. So any attacking assets, but then with Liverpool, that could mean your fullbacks. Like you could, even if they don't keep a cleanie, and granted they had a terrible outing against Villa, but if Trent and Robbo show up, Mane, Salah, and then as you said, Alex, of course, like the Everton. So you got your DCLs, you got Rodriguez, Digne if he's fit. I don't know if Richarlison's back, right? Richarlison's fit again, yeah, because he played for Brazil.
But would you do Richarlison? But would you do Richarlison over DCL? That's the thing. Richarlison's more expensive, right?
Differentially,
not right now, but Richarlison's awesome.
Yeah, true.
I say this every week, but he's really good, and he's playing as a forward for Brazil.
I mean, he came on. They just got carried away. Yeah, they were, I think, 3-0 up, and he came on for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, don't
again. So is Douglas Luiz. So
yeah, and Eric, don't get carried away as well with regards to you don't want to be like Woody with Pulisic,
Oh my God! Okay,
wait, we'll come to Pulisic, but just touching there on Richarlison. So also everybody's on the Everton train, right? You got Rodriguez 39.1% ownership, Calvert-Lewin's 48.8%, Richarlison's 8.2%. Like that's a hell of a differential.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And to be fair, Richarlison has hit the post. I mean, I've seen it in 5 different angles now, and he's missed a lot, but as in almost scored. I know that's not really a great.
And great he's on penos, right? He's their peno taker, so
yeah,
there's that as well. Like definitely a chance that he has been overlooked, and it'll be one of those weekends where he gets the brace, and then all of a sudden everybody's on the Richarlison train and dropping Rodriguez.
Woody, do you want to just talk us through before we get onto our team, Chelsea? So Chelsea have an interesting squad this season. So we've got injuries, we've got players back. So what's going on?
Yeah, so basically these two, before we started recording, were mugging me off because I've been banging on about Chelsea, and there's like, oh, you can't because of rotation, and they're not going to play 90 minutes, and blah 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 blah. But effectively, what the point I was trying to make to them is they're back, baby. It would appear that let me finish. It would appear that everybody except maybe Chilwell and possibly Edouard Mendy, their first team seems to be 100% fit. Granted, I take your points that you mentioned before, lack of match practice.
But what is their first team? This is the thing. Tell us the first team. In your eyes, what it should be.
In
that way, it's on the record.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So basically, I think it's a 4-2-3-1.
What goalkeeper is going to play? Because now he has to play either Arrizabalaga or
Yeah, that's a good question. If Mendy's injured,
Caballero,
that is a. Yeah, I mean that's a personnel management thing as much as a tactical decision, right? Because confidence and interpersonal relationships and all that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's a tricky one, but basically, I think that Chelsea's best front lineup would be Werner centre forward, Pulisic on the left, Havertz through the middle, and Ziyech on the right. Then behind him, you've got your Kante, Jorginho combo, and then the back four, centre backs, whatever,
But your logic kind of just is a bit questionable because Werner hasn't scored a goal yet, and so you saying he's the best up front. He hasn't scored a goal in the Premier League. I know how good he was in the Bundesliga, and then Pulisic has played 7 minutes in 4 games. So I failed to see the reasoning there.
I just think this is the week that they'll all come back. All I'm saying. They've had a mixed start to the season because of all the injuries they've had with the transfers they've made.
It's all the way they play, right? It's the way they play as well against the team that they're playing against. Who are they playing against?
Well, they're playing Southampton.
And this week,
Southampton. They like to play with the high press. Kyle Walker? Well, that's a blast. Walker Peters. Yeah, sorry. He likes to roam forward, and that leaves space for Pulisic to work in. So I'm just saying, and the scout agrees with me, FPL scout, that I think he's one to watch. And then you get Werner working through the middle where he does arguably his best work. Yeah. I'm just saying. You're writing them off, and I'm saying don't, basically.
All right.
Okay. Well, I suppose this leads us on to our team of the week, which you can see on our social media or on the website fplbanter.com. So if you want to follow along, you can. So the usual thing, we'll just have a quick discussion about the team, have a chat about the captain, and then talk about one player we'll each bring in if it's just one player. The team does fit in a... Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. The team fits in about 100 mil budget. So if you're on a wild card, you could get it. So it's not an outrageous team. Anyway, so defense, goalkeeper and defense. Who's taking it?
Yeah, go on then. I made the deal. I'll take it. Okay. I didn't really want to talk about the defenders because I don't agree with most of it. But so we've planned for Ramsdale in goal. Who now we know Sheffield United haven't exactly been the bus that they parked last season. They've been letting a bit of traffic through. However, they're playing Fulham, who are just not looking at all potent. So, I think Ramsdale or any of the Sheffield United defence would not be a bad shout. Then we've gone for a 3-4-3 lineup, and our starting 3 defenders is Castagne, Aurier, and Saiss. Obviously, all 3 of those have good attacking stats. Saiss gets up and is their sort of primary target for corners for Wolves. Aurier, we've seen it season in, season out. And Castagne, a new addition, but he has been roaming down the right-hand side for Leicester all the start of the season. Now, my question will be, my protest in the selection was Castagne. I mean, Leicester are playing Villa, and Villa are on a great run of form with 100% fitness in the team, as far as I'm aware. So I just don't think there's a cleanie there, and they've been quite tight at the back. So I'm not sure how much joy he's going to get. However, he's a pretty good bet, and I think most people will have him. Aurier, the elephant in the room is he going to start over Doherty? Now, Aurier didn't play in the internationals. Doherty did. Maybe he get a rest. So we've gone with a little bit of a punt with Aurier. But if he starts, he'll probably play the 90. And Saiss, we've already talked about. They've got Leeds. Could be a cleanie, probably not, but he's a threat from corners. And then our defender subs is Dallas of Leeds, who is my pick. Again,
the scouts,
the
FPL scouts. The FPL
Scout. So before we do the podcast, Woody watches the FPL Scout and then comes on and comes out with the ideas.
And I just regurgitate his ideas, apparently. Now, I like him. And so a couple of weeks ago, it's before the City game.
You've never heard of the guy like before last week?
But a couple of weeks ago, the Match of the Day guys did a piece on him and highlighted all of his skills and stuff. And he's good. He comes out wide, he comes through the middle, supports the attacks. He's already got 1 assist and a couple of bony Ps in the second game this season. I forget what it was. I think he's got potential. And then obviously Mr. Mitchell, Tag Mitchell, 4.1. He's, good value still, even though he's gone up 0.1. He's good value. They're playing Brighton and Van Aanholt.
And he links up well with Zaha, which is great.
Yeah, which Eric loves. He's a big fan of Zaha. But no, you can't go wrong with Tarek Mitchell. He's a good safe bet for the bench.
And just for the record here, myself and Swabbers wanted a little bit of Reece James in there. Great young talent, great going forward and stuff. But Woody said no. So
not going to start.
Son.
I'm telling you, it's not going to start. Azpilicueta.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
and here I am disagreeing with the scout because he's always banging on about Reece James. But like, as far as I could tell, Azpil, club captain, starting right hand defender, if he's fit.
Didn't we see a club captain on the bench the other day? Who was that?
Mark Noble.
Yeah. Anyway, I think Aurier's all right. Like you said, he might not start. If he doesn't, we have cover. But he was just so good in the last game, and he scored one. But to be honest, he could have done way more.
But to go with what Woody's about to say, because we're about to go to our midfield where we have Son. Apparently, West Ham play back five, right, Woody? And so Aurier won't have as much space in that back five potentially as he would do with the defense that Manchester United had.
And he's allowed to say that because he's a supporter.
Yeah. And Masuaku has been playing on the left and playing well. And then you've got Cresswell sort of tucked in the left side of the back three. But that's
All right, Eric, do you want to take care of the midfield?
Yeah, okay. Midfield, pretty easy. First one is Son. I was probably the only person in the entire world that didn't sell him this week, so I've reaped the benefits. Thank you. So Son is in there for obvious reasons. Then we're on the Grealish train. Yeah. I think he was looking great. I mean, not just against Liverpool, but he was looking really good. Probably one for the season. And he's playing against Leicester. Leicester lost 3-0 last week. So I really think Grealish is a good bet for this week. Then Rodriguez, again, he's been in form. Fantastic. Surprisingly fantastic player because I didn't expect him to be good in the Premier League, but he's proved me wrong, which is good. And they're playing Liverpool. And we were all saying that Liverpool against Everton, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm hoping that's a really good game because it's a derby and all that.
Yeah, it'd be a good one.
And then we have, exactly. And then we have Salah, and this is kind of a point of contention here. Salah because he's Salah, but with Mane back, should you be considering Mane? Well, maybe. Plus, he's had a price drop, and he likes to score away, and he'll also be kind of proving himself now, being like, "I'm back, baby," kind of thing. So. We've gone Salah, but we can see the reason why anyone would go for Mane.
I definitely think it's something to keep an eye on with the press releases on Friday afternoon.
That's right.
What they say about Mane's test status.
Yeah. And then on the bench, as our first sub, we have Jorginho. He is a bit of a filler, but he's also on penalties, and he seems to be pretty consistent. So for 5 mil, he's probably going to get you the most points.
He's 5.2 now, isn't he? He's gone up twice.
Yeah, 5.2. You're right. And having a Chelsea midfielder will obviously upset Woody because it's not Pulisic. But
no, at least there's one in there. I'm happy there's one.
Yeah. But that's our midfield. So it's a 3-4-3 with Jorginho on the bench.
All right, and then in attack, we'll start off with Wilson. He's our 6.5.
Hey.
He's good. I mean, look, for me, it's great. It's a bit of a bittersweet moment if he scores because he's going to be scoring against Manchester United. But that's great for me. At least
bittersweet. You hate Manchester United. This will make your day.
I love it. I reckon we should captain him. Anyway, moving on, we go to Vardas. Bit contentious because he didn't do well last week. But for us, we were kind of thinking between Vardas or Kane. Mopey and I voted for Son. Woody wants to keep Kane, but with Vardy, I think we're in good hands, and we've got Villa. I know they've got a tight defense, but let's see. I reckon he'll score a couple, and it's good.
Vardy does just show up, and when he does, like this season, when he does, it's usually 15 plus points. I mean, 13 in the first game and 17 in the third game. So I know he blanked last week, but he's one of these guys, right? That you got to stick with him.
Yep.
And the last one, another one that Eric was wrong about ages ago, along with the Rodriguez train, was DCL. So we're going for Calvert-Lewin. because again, it's Calvert-Lewin. He scored during the internationals. He hasn't done much in the last 2 games. He's been rested a little bit, so he could have some energy in there to score a couple, hopefully. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about now our captain and vice captain selection.
It's a tricky one this week.
Oh, it's a very tricky one. See, I'll be tempted to go. I'm almost looking at Son right now.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
For me, it's between Son and Salah for me.
Are you not even thinking? You're not even thinking Rodriguez or DCL.
I think this
they would
week
be good options.
I think this week, because it is quite contentious and there's no sort of clear candidate. I think you've got to consider the penalty takers. I think that gives it a nudge,
and
particularly in a derby.
All right,
in the Merseyside derby.
So I guess it stays Salah then.
I just for that I would go Salah or Vardy.
Yeah, Salah. At least when I do it, I feel comfortable about it. Whereas if I went someone like, let's say you go Wilson or Son, I feel like I'm hoping. Whereas with Salah, I'm just like whatever. I'm trusting it.
Yeah, I'm happy with Son. I mean, to be honest, if we really wanted to kind of, I would do a little cheeky punt and do a Sonny, but up to you guys. I mean, I'm happy with Salah anyway.
Right. Well, I think we're going to have to make a decision. So I'm going to go Salah. Woody?
Salah.
Yeah, Salah. It is. Vice captain, Calvert-Lewin. Are we happy? Or do we want to do Son?
Yeah. I mean, no one ever captains Calvert-Lewin. I don't know anyone who captains Calvert-Lewin. Well, except Wits. And Calvert-Lewin has literally scored in every single game. So probably not a bad shout.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. DCL or Son. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with either.
The vice captain, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then every week we try and do one player we'd all bring in. If you didn't have that player, who would it be? So, well, Woody, I wonder who this would be for you.
I mean,
do we need to ask?
He's not even in the team, but I would say, well, that being said, actually, because of the conversation we had earlier, I would consider Richarlison as well.
Because of the different.
No. Just because of their differential value this week and their fixtures, I'd go Richarlison or Pulisic. That'd be my shout.
Yeah, well, it's funny you used to say that, Woody, because presumably Pulisic is a lot less selected than Richarlison as well. So there you'd have even more of a differential.
You're right. I mean, you say a lot less. I mean, what did I say? Richarlison was 8.2, Pulisic 3.1.
There we go.
So there's still 3.1 people hanging on to him. So I mean, it's when you consider the guys.
0.1% of 8 million players. I mean, that's quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. Bear in mind, Pulisic's been injured since the start of the season, and Richarlison's been playing well. It's not like it's a 50-2 split. Yeah, penis.
Basically, Woody watched those 7 minutes he played in the whole season, and he thought to himself, "He's the guy to have."
No, I'm basing it on how strong he finished last season up until he dinked his hammy in the cup final. He was awesome, and he's a crucial part of Chelsea's forward line. And
when I used to play football and I did my hammy in, I never came back the same. I played with the fear after that.
So you're dropping Sterling then, because obviously he's done his hammy as well.
Oh, he's gone, mate.
He's
gone.
So which player would you select then, Eric, if you had to choose one to come in?
For me, this week, well, on my personal team, I've done something slightly different, but I'm going to go Grealish because I think he's reasonable. I'd say most people can afford him by downgrading someone in their mid. And I reckon Grealish for the season is a good shot. However, just as a side note, in my personal team, I've gone Watkins, and for different reasons. But Grealish would be the man for me.
Watkins, are you following Tal on that?
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just I have 2 Villa keepers, and so therefore, and I had a Villa striker who didn't play. So the only way I could bring in a Villa player was by replacing one of those. So it didn't give me the option to go Grealish without taking a 4-point hit.
All right, fair enough. And I know we've touched upon it. For me, it's an easy sell because I'm a big fan of Mane. I know it's a very straightforward choice, to be honest, but I honestly really like Mane, and I prefer him. And I believe if you go back to one of our first podcasts, I have said that I prefer Mane to Salah in general.
You're Mane all day long, definitely.
I am definitely just like Barnes, but not this week. I'm not doing Barnes.
This week.
Would you say Barnes is your Pulisic?
I mean, look,
we all have one. We all have a Pulisic.
Yeah, but Barnes has at least proven himself a little bit more than Pulisic this season.
Oh, you're going to eat your words, man. You're
Why
going
are you
to
trying to
eat your
upset?
words.
Why are you trying to
All of
upset
you.
the proud daddy? Okay, stop it.
Come on, Christian.
Okay, all right. Well, so that's it for the week. If you, like I said, if you want to see the team, go on the website or the social media. Alex, what's the social media?
At FPL_Bants for the Twitter and at FPL Banter for everything else, i.e. Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, feel free to follow and also subscribe. If you subscribe on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or anything, then you'll get it every week. So it's probably easier that way. Otherwise, best of luck for the game week. Best of luck to everyone and to Pulisic, especially. Big shout out to you all this week. And we'll be back next week before the game week. And don't forget, just an early reminder, next week, Friday is the game week. So don't forget. Okay, don't get mugged off. But yeah, we'll see you next week for the podcast.
All right, see you later.
Cheers.